All right. So there was something that came up. Kathy brought it up, and we should talk about it because it was something I didn't know about, or I did know about it, but then I forgot about it. And now I'm kind of rediscovering it. We have this. We have this setup, right, where we have Bird as a super constructor, and I mean, I'm sorry, the parent class, and we have parrot as the child class. We look here into Bird. Okay. We look here into Bird and it has a set of instance variables, right? Sound, weight, B. Yeah, I'm not sure what B is all about, but let's get rid of him. And we run the constructor. It's going to initialize sound to be equal to cheap, right? Like cheap, cheap, cheap. And then we have weight, which is initialized to 5, right? It's like 5 pounds. And then we have a eat method, which adds 1 to the weight. We have a fly method, which is like having exercise, right? So then we like subtract 1 from the weight. And then if your weight is like less than is 1 or less, I guess, yeah, 1 or less, then it says I'm too weak to fly, feed me please. And then we have the toString that prints out the instance fields, right? So we look inside of our driver, and what am I doing? I am creating a bird. And then I print line B, which is going to run its toString and print out its instance fields. So what is it going to do? It's going to come here, initialize cheap 5, and then it's going to print out cheap 5, right? So let's go ahead and run that. Make sure that works. Cheap 5. Okay, great. So the point of this video is the fact that we can go ahead and delete this constructor. So Bird now has no constructors, right? What do you think? Is it going to compile? Right. Go ahead and compile that. It compiles fine, no errors, right? I compile the driver and I run it. This is what happens, right? So you might be thinking to yourself, like, how does that make sense, right? Well, it's called a default constructor. And so what the Java compiler does, if it doesn't find a zero argument constructor here, it creates a zero argument constructor, and it initializes objects to null and number values like int to 0. And then you might be thinking, what does it initialize Boolean to? It initializes that to false. And chars, it initializes it to the null character. Okay, there's a character, a single character for null, and that's what it initializes char to. Okay. Okay, yeah, right. So that's the default constructor, and there was also one more thing I think that Kathy brought up that we should probably talk about too. Is yeah. So I guess like the point of this is that you might be given this kind of a setup in the multiple choice, and it says like, is it compiler error, runtime error? Like, what is the code gonna do? It's gonna run. It's gonna run, man, and this is gonna initialize to null. This is gonna initialize to 0, and it's gonna do what it does. Okay, so just be aware of that. And then here we have the parrot class, right, which extends Bird, and this caused confusion right here. So the parrot would initialize sound to caw, weight to 10, right? They're bigger than birds. And then our eat is something I'm overriding. And then here we have weight, and here we have super. Well, maybe if we have here super.weight. Now, the question here is, are these two referring to different variables, right? And when it runs eat, it's going to evaluate the right side first. And it's going to say weight. Okay, well, but I'm in the parrot class, right? I didn't create a weight int weight, right? So it's not local. And the only reason why this would compile is because weight is an instance field of Bird. And I look over here and it is, right? Okay. So this weight here refers to the parrot's weight instance variable, which is set to 10. Okay. And now what about super.weight? Well, the question is kind of like, does super weight refer to like the super classes, the parent class's weight instance variable? Well, that doesn't really make any sense because like parrot is a bird, right? It absorbed all the instance variables of bird. So parrot and bird are now like one thing, right? And so the rule here is that super is an optional keyword. Optional, right? You can put it here or you can not put it here, but it's going to refer to the instance field of the parrot, right? So yeah, so then this weight here and this weight here refer to the same place in memory that holds the parrot's weight instance field, right? So we could do that, or we could do super.weight, right? Or we could do super, right? All of those different combinations are equivalent. Okay, so just a heads up.